Study Section 5, Financing of Trade Union Education. Introduction. In this study session, we'll be discussing how a trade union education is financed. We will describe how either the employer, the union, or the government finances the trade union education. Learning outcomes. When you have studied this session, you should be able to describe how a trade union education is financed. Financing a trade union education. Who finances a trade union? Is it the employer, the union, or the government? Financing is an important aspect of any organization, and hence the need to know how a trade union is financed. Note: who funds a worker's education? Is it the employer, the union, the government, or self-funding? Labor, physical or mental work, especially of a hard kind. International Trade Union Congress 2006 recognizes that trade union education is a vital instrument for building the capacity of trade unions and their members to enable them to improve and strengthen their organizations and to play a constructive, purposeful, and creative role in their workplaces and societies. In this context, some financial resources are required for any educational activity to take place. Many authors have expressed different views as to who should actually fund workers' education. Some hold the view that the employers of labor should fund workers' education because the direct benefit derived from the exercise goes to the employer, while others believe that the government should fund workers' education because of its dual role as the largest employer of labor and policymaker on matters relating to industrial relations. Others hold the view that the unions should bear the cost of the education of their members. There are merits and demerits of the above positions if workers' education is seen as consisting of improving workers' skills and increasing their productivity. Then their education should be funded by their employers. If, on the other hand, workers' education is seen as a tool for improving the workers for job mobility and advancement, then the unions and their members should provide the funds towards labor education. And if workers' education as an instrument of enhancing the awareness of the workers, which will enable them to win more benefit for their members, then trade unions should fund the education of their members. Whichever way one looks at it, and regardless of the source of funding, one is certain and constant that labor education is an essential element in industrial relations practice in any nation that is beneficial to the workers, union management, and government. However, funding of workers' education should be seen as a priority of any government because of its multiplier effect on other sectors of the economy. Workers' education could be funded from the following sources. 1. Fund from the union. The trade unions are expected to set aside a reasonable proportion of their annual budget for the provision of education, not only for trade union leaders but also for the members of the union. These funds can be generated internally through the check-off dues paid by their members. 2. Fund from public revenue. The government recognized the need for industrial peace and harmony in order to realize a stable economy, which can only be achieved through union education. Funding of union education has now become imperative for the government. In Nigeria, there should be some budgetary allocations from the federal, state, and local governments towards union education. However, not much financial assistance have been given by the government, but the government established an Institute of Labor Studies, now Michael Imodu Institute of Labor Studies, in Ilorin, designed to educate both unions and employers in trade union matters. These steps are necessary as it has been argued that education is the right of all citizens, be it formal or non-formal. 3. Finance from employers. Employers of labor have much to gain from union education since the survival of the organizations and their investment depend on the type of relationship existing between them and the employees. In Nigeria, the private sector is ahead of the public sector in which some organizations have deliberately organized courses on industrial relations while some regularly sponsor their workers on outside courses. For effective union education, the management in consultation with the unions should arrange periodic courses at management expense for the employees. In addition, management can aid the industrial unions through annual allocations of funds for education purposes. Study section summary. In this study session, you were exposed to how trade union education is financed. It showed you how it is financed by either the government, the trade union, or the employer. This is the end of study section 5. Thanks for listening.